Your Lobo Coaches Show is brought to you by Bud Light and Bud Light Seltzer, the perfect matchup. Enjoy responsibly. Hello, Lobo fans. Welcome into your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with the women's basketball coach at UNLV, Mike Bradbury. Coach Bradbury, first of all, great to be with you for the first time on the Coaches Show for 2020-2021. Your team's off to a 5-0 start. You're getting back on the court here against UNLV coming up in a few short days. First off, how are you doing, Coach? And how's your team doing?
We're doing good. Under the circumstances, I think everybody's in good spirits, and looking forward to the next games, and just kind of getting in and out of different places and the travel. I think our kids have done well, and I think are in a good place right now.
We're going to recap your two conference opening wins on the road against Nevada. And I wanted to ask about the format for this season, playing two games where the tip times are 48 hours apart against the same team. You guys navigated it pretty well. The first series, 2-0, a sweep in Reno.
Yeah, that was good. I was pleased with especially the way we came out and played in the first game and jumped on them early. So that was good. And then, dealt with the adjustments for game two, and had to make some of our own and to be able to win that game. And it was good. I mean, our kids were excited. They were happy. It's the first time they had played in a long time. I think it was good for everybody involved.
I can't wait to break down these games with you, Coach, because I thought it was fascinating, the difference in the style of the way those two games against Nevada were played. It was a stark contrast, wasn't it?
It was, and you never know. And this was, our first time doing it this way. So now I kind of expect those kind of things to happen between game 1 and 2, throughout the year. But it was much different.
Your team has been a group of road warriors. They're already battle tested, and you guys are still out on the road in Vegas as we record this show. How are they holding up with all this travel?
They, have been very positive and upbeat, but, we'll see as it stretches on, past day 50 or so, how we're doing. And, I guess the biggest thing, Robert, is this is about the players this year. This is a different deal, and we've got to make sure that they're in the right place mentally. And, and we talk about it almost daily. Anytime somebody's ready to go home, they can go home, and that's the way it'll work.
Your Lobo Coaches Show is brought to you by Bud Light and Bud Light Seltzer, the perfect matchup. Enjoy responsibly. Our first time out. When we come back on the other side, we break down game 1 of the Lobos sweep in Reno of Nevada after this.
Decorative towel.
There was a mess. I wiped up a mess.
Yeah, you did.
Where is the bus? Never mind, I found it.
When game day is a go, there's a Bud Light there.
Welcome back into your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm Robert Portnoy with women's basketball coach at UNM, Mike Bradbury. New Mexico swept Nevada on the road to start conference play. It's time to break down game 1 highlights with the coach. Coach B, your team got off to a really hot start in this one, didn't they?
Yeah, it starts pretty quick here. And wasn't even like great offense right here. We're kind of a little bit out of sorts, but we make a good individual play with a step back 3 to open the game. You're going to hear that 3 word a lot in this game. I think we hit 14 to 15 or something.
Well, yeah, Tora gets one. The Twins have been terrific to start. What about the defense that you played against Nevada at the start?
It was good. In the first half, that's about as good as we could play on both ends of the floor. And we were able to get stops, and the biggest thing, we were able to rebound the ball, and then we were able to score in transition. And, that's where we got all the easy baskets and all the threes. I mean, you can see everything's coming out of transition. And, there they had actually scored, and it was, they were pressing us. And this is where you'll see the biggest adjustment after we start watching game 2. And even in the second half of game 1 that we're watching, they quit pressing because that was putting us in transition.
Yeah, these are pick sixes right here. I mean, this is a coach's nightmare if they're happening to you. You guys got to have smiles on your side of the court when your Lobos are out and running like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We get a turnover, that almost always turns into points. Here we get a defensive rebound, and pushed it at them in transition, and, they stopped us on this one. So we had to run offense here.
What about this offensive set?
Yeah, it was good. We were running 5 out. It's just our base offense. We don't have a lot of plays in. And it was, we ran it really, really well in this game.
Got a little Euro step layup out of that one. Here's some more transition.
Yeah, Jaden in open floor is pretty good. She finds a way to get an angle at the basket. A lot of times you think it's a bad shot. She finds a way to get the proper angle. Here we are against the press again, and it's going to put us in transition again. And
I love when the bigs go baseline, coach.
Yeah, that's a 1 pass, 2 dribble layup. We score in, less than 5 seconds.
Are you guys kind of excited when you see a team press you? I mean, I know you love to play fast. Have there been teams over your years here at UNM that have been able to cause you problems with their press?
Not really. That's usually our best offense. Is against the press. We played one other non-conference game this year where they pressed us and we scored 120. So it's usually to our advantage.
We saw a trail 3 there in transition, Coach Bradbury. How much of transition do you want your women attacking the rim 100% of the time? And how many times, is it going to end up in that? Will you get a corner 3 out of a transition opportunity like that one?
I don't know how teams are going to adjust, but it usually ends up in a 3. We're going to attack the basket to make them, honor us to lay it in. And then we're going to, usually end up shooting a 3. That's the way it was here in game 1. Is we're into the second half now and starting to really widen the gap here.
And the threes are just raining down. Is the transition 3 the best 3 that you can get in your offense, or are there certain sets in your half court where you feel like you're getting really good looks as well?
Well, we can run 5 out. We've actually been pretty good at it. But our best offense is transition. And the best way for us to get a 3 is in transition. The next best way for us would be off an offensive rebound kick out. Those are probably the 2 best for any team, but especially for us. And we just got to get the game going at a really, really fast pace.
88-69, essentially your team runs away from Nevada in your first conference game of the year. Is there any fear on the part of the coaches after you have a shooting night like you had in that game that it might turn on you the next time around and that could cause your team some issues scoring the ball?
Yeah, you think about that stuff. And it's, it happens. It's kind of like when you're, it's hard to shoot. And this is not for me, but I'm talking about pro golfers here. It's hard to shoot 63 on back-to-back days. I don't know how that would translate to me and you, Robert, but it's hard to make every shot 2 nights in a row. And, so yeah, we think about it. But we definitely don't talk about it.
All right. With that W, the Lobos get their conference opening win. They move to 4-0 on the season. Your Lobo Coaches Show, presented by Bud Light, continues with Game 2 as the Lobos sweep Nevada in Reno after this.
I miss the kids. Do they miss me?
I
It's been really hard being apart from everyone.
I don't know, babe. I'm not sure when we'll be together again.
It's been so hard taking care of the kids all day by myself.
I'm so sad that I won't be with the family.
I just hate being separated from everyone.
Welcome back on your Lobo Coaches Show. I'm your host, Robert Portnoy, with Mike Bradbury, the women's basketball coach at New Mexico. Okay, Coach Bradbury, you ran away from Nevada for a Game 1 win in your conference opening series in Reno. Let's get to the highlights of Game 2. And this one was a very different looking basketball game, right, Coach?
It was. Didn't get off to as good a start. I think we missed our first 12 threes. So definitely the opposite of Game 1. We had to grind some baskets out here.
You, I believe, had 14 made threes in Game 1. You were 4 for 19 from 3 in Game 2, and yet you figured out a way to win.
Yeah, and it was, as you can just see by the highlights, it's we're having to drive the basket. They made major adjustments, and you can see right there, they had scored. They're already not pressing, okay, which now has changed the entire tempo of the game. Like, you never see them picking up. They're all back down here, and then they are determined to not let us shoot a bunch of threes. Now, I think we missed our first 12, so that means we ended 4 for 7, and this one right here was the dagger. That one right there put us up double figures, and that was huge there. That was deep into the second half.
The Lobos only make 4. All of them come in the second half. And the key adjustments, other than not pressing, what were they? Were they just up into your three-point shooters and willing to let you have backdoor cuts and other things?
Yes, and that's what we got, was driving lanes and backdoor cuts. And that was the whole, you'll see right here. I mean, most of these highlights are all points in the paint and really, at point blank range. So, here's a little set we run right here. Elise had just hit a couple threes, and we wanted to get her back off another one, but Tasia came off and was open and was able to hit it and get fouled.
And you turn a missed free throw into a bucket there. I know you love when that happens. You hate not boxing out on the free throw line if you're the ones that are trying to get the defensive rebound, but man, you love it when you miss a free throw and then go get it.
Absolutely. That was a big basket for us too. They'd cut it to, I think, back to 7 or so when Autumn was able to do that.
How far into this, and maybe it was the first media timeout, there's a pick 6 right there. Did you realize that, and communicate to your team, hey, look, we're going to have to go to the basket, and the bigs are going to have to be huge today because they're just going to try and get us off the three-point line?
Yeah, and that was the biggest thing, was that's what we had to do, was make sure we were reading the play the right way. We can play either way, and we just had to make sure we had gotten so comfortable just shooting a bunch of threes that we had to get out of that mindset and make sure we were reading the screen and reading the play the right way. And there's a back cut right there for you. And it was, and once we did that, we were fine. The second half, offensively, we flowed much better. And we looked like a team that, we should look like. The first half, we were kind of disjointed and didn't really play the right way. We played really hard, but we couldn't make the right play. And we got that, and credit to our kids for being able to do that.
A 78-67 win. The score just reflects the different type of game that was played in Game 2 in Reno. You mentioned you can play either way. I would imagine, though, you play more the way you'd really like to play. Is it harder to get into that because you work on it less, or do you get enough reps when you have to play that way that you guys can get into it pretty quickly? What does that look like?
We can do it. And we practice and prepare for that. We can play slow. The problem it is for us is we don't rebound very well. So when it's a really slow game and it's not fast and chaotic, it's just usually not to our advantage, just because we don't rebound it very good. And the other team can constantly beat us up on the boards, whereas we get it in the track meet, everything's kind of loose, and every rebound is just bouncing around, and that plays, into our hands a little bit.
Okay, when we come back after the timeout, it's the Lobos and the Lady Rebels, a double dip in Vegas. What should have been a home away from home series turns into a true road series. We talk UNLV, Lady Rebels with Coach Bradbury on the other side. Your Lobo Coaches Show is brought to you by Bud Light and Bud Light Seltzer, the perfect matchup. Enjoy responsibly.
Larry H. Miller dealerships have helped over 20 million service customers. To put it in perspective, if we served one customer every minute and started right now, we wouldn't be done for 38 years. How have we kept so many customers happy? We have decades of experience with master-trained technicians who can handle the routine jobs and tackle the toughest repairs from our state-of-the-art facilities located near you. 20 million jobs done right. Schedule yours at a Larry H. Miller dealership or online at lhmauto.com.
Back to put a ribbon on two Lobo conference opening wins against Nevada and get you set up for series number 2 in league play on your Lobo Coaches Show with women's basketball coach at UNM, Mike Bradbury. New Mexico is set up to play 2 in Vegas against UNLV. Coach Bradbury, first off, congrats on those 2 great wins that we just recapped in Reno. The way that those looked and the way a series against the Rebels might look, what will be the biggest contrast?
Well, the ability for UNLV to shoot the ball. They can really shoot it, and that wasn't Nevada's strength. So, we'll have to play defense differently. In the second game against Nevada, we relied on a lot of zone. I don't know that will be the answer for UNLV. But they shoot it and they really rebound the ball. And that'll be a concern.
They're a 35% three-point shooting team, and they have 4 good volume three-point shooters. When they can sort of ring the arc with shooters, what does that do to your defense, Coach?
It's going to spread us out, and that's not necessarily how we like to play. And they're going to spread us out, and we're going to have to get out there and guard them. And again, that leaves us a little vulnerable, inside with our post defense. But good news is we got 3 more good days of practice here to get prepared and get a good plan in place.
Friday, 3 p.m. at Cox Pavilion, Sunday, 3 p.m. at Cox Pavilion, the Lobos and the Lady Rebels. One other quick thought. You told me they have a great shooting big. When the big can stretch the floor and still go rebound the ball, how tough is that?
It's tough. It's going to be a big challenge. AT, Shy, Autumn, those guys are going to have to be really good in this game. Defensively and rebounding.
Coach Bradbury, we're just excited that your Lobos are ready to get back on court and play basketball games, looking to extend that season-opening 5-game winning streak. Thanks for being with us on our first Lobo Coaches Show, and good luck in Vegas.
Thanks, Robert. Appreciate it.
Lobo head women's basketball coach Mike Bradbury. I'm Robert Portnoy for Chase Christensen and the entire crew. Thank you so much for watching our first Lobo Coaches Show. Till next week, so long everybody, and go Lobos.